Welcome to the Know, I'm Ashley. The long wait is over, folks. We finally know the release date of PlayStation's God of War. The company just announced that you'll be able to step into the monster stomping super dad boots of Kratos on April 20th. They also dropped a brand new trailer along with the announcement, showcasing way more of the game's story than we've seen before. Plus, they gave some information about the game's super expensive collector's edition, if you're into that sort of thing. About that 420 date, director Cory Barlog wrote on the PlayStation blog, "First, let me say that this is my favorite release day of my entire career. If I live to be 100, I do not think I will be able to top this release day." Know what your hobbies are, Cory. Cool. Interestingly enough, this release date was dropped just a tad early on Amazon, who listed the collector's edition and the date just last night. So, hey, leaked date, it was real! Finally! With all these rumors going around about a potential Fable 4 as well, speaking of leaks, series creator Peter Molyneux decided to pitch his 2 cents in about the sequel, and what he would do if he were making it. Oh, hold on, spoiler, is touch involved? You know, the power of touch. In an interview with IGN, Molyneux said that if it were up to him, the game would be a prequel to the first game with very different combat. Molyneux told IGN, "I would love to see brutal, visceral, and fluid combat system that left permanent scars. Weapons like short swords, long swords, daggers, spears, longbows, and crossbows, all having their own combat feel and specialties. The magic system should be revamped with the ability to craft your own unique system, having a familiar of your choice, bird, cat, dog, goldfish, which assist you with magic and bonds with you." He added that he'd also want to put in loads of new beasts and rideable dragons, or at least he tried to before they didn't make that final game, which makes it a little bit awkward. Actually, a lot of those are pretty cool ideas. I would be down with them. I still think the touch is funny though. Is Denuvo's anti-piracy protection about to get even more DRM-ier? Could be the case, because it looks like Denuvo was just acquired by a global anti-piracy group, Irdetto, which is weird because they should have acquired them when it worked. The two announced the acquisition this morning, saying that the partnership would bring anti-piracy and anti-cheat solutions for games on desktop, mobile, console, and VR devices. Denuvo also said that Irdetto will help them shore up their current anti-piracy measures, which aren't working all that well. Irdetto says that Denuvo will continue to operate as normal, so it'll still be in some of your favorite games, like the upcoming Far Cry 5, for instance, only to be removed in a couple of days anyway. Yes, we're poking a lot of fun at it, but mostly because remember when it came out and it was like, oh, this is like the next big thing in DRM and no one will ever pirate anything, and now everyone's like, it was released, oh look, it's cracked. Oops. Also, speaking of whoops, a pretty major security flaw has just been discovered in, well, every single Blizzard game. According to Google researcher Tavis Ormandy, Blizzard games were subject to a DNS rebinding vulnerability, which basically allowed any website to run malicious code on your machine or other machines on your network. Oh goody. Ormandy first sent his findings about the vulnerability to Blizzard back in December, and fortunately, the exploit has been fixed by Blizzard, so it's not a thing anymore. But it was. One developer told PC Games Zen that a more stable and secure update will deploy to their games soon, so now you can farm for all those Overwatch skins in peace. A recently discovered job posting seems to be indicating that Atlas, the developer of Persona, and now these days one of my absolute favorites. They were back in the day as well, but Persona really brought them back into my heart. They could be looking to expand a little bit into a different genre for a future PS4 game. The now deleted job posting was up at a Japanese careers site hinting that the company was Atlas. It mentioned Persona and Shin Megami Tensei specifically, and that they are looking for someone to help them create a high-end action game exclusively for PS4. We do know that longtime Persona director Katsuro Hashino handed the reins of the series off to the team and plans on pursuing other projects. However, the last time he mentioned his next project, he specifically said it was an RPG. So we'll see if that's his or if this is something totally different. Either way, I very much look forward to seeing more from the company. They're doing good stuff. Rocket League already allows you to play with people on other platforms, so unless you're on PS4. And now it looks like Psyonix is working on cross-platform party support as well. In response to a question on Twitter, the official Rocket League help account tweeted, "We're actively working on cross-platform party support for a 2018 release." And they added a smiley face because they're nice people. That's good news for Rocket League fans because right now you can't form a private party with friends who are on different platforms. As far as which platforms can play together, currently, Switch players have crossplay with Xbox One and PC. So come on, get on board, Sony. You'll get this big, unified, active player base, and that's good for everybody. Otherwise, people will be like, I don't want to buy it on PS4 because then I'll be off alone. If I get on one of these, I can play with everybody. You don't want to be that guy, right? Come on. You might remember a few years back that Valve was ordered to pay $3 million by regulators in Australia after charges that the company misled gamers over how refunds work on Steam. Well, Valve appealed that decision, but it was dismissed. Now we've got word that they are appealing yet again. IGEA attorney Johnny Roses explained Valve's latest appeal in a tweet, saying it's appealed the decision to Australia's High Court, and the original fine will continue to remain on hold until the court either makes a ruling or rejects Valve's appeal. In the appeal, Valve's argued that it's based in the US, not Australia, so it shouldn't be subject to Australian consumer laws when it comes to goods. Seriously though, I mean, look, $3 million is a lot of money for us people, like normal people, but I feel like Gabe could just pay this fine out of like whatever changes in his couch cushions and move on and never think about it again. But maybe I'm just overestimating how much is in his couch cushions. I don't know, but it seems like they could do it and not worry about it. Anyway, after more than 4 years in early access, the indie survival game Rust is finally getting an actual release date. It's going to come out at long last on February 8th, according to an announcement from Facepunch Studios founder Gary Newman. But Newman says, don't expect a finished game yet just because they're releasing. I mean, well, it would be. It's only been 4 years. He wrote, please try not to compare the game to some other finished game or some idealized version you have in your head. Compare the game now to how it was when we entered early access. Think of it more like we're leaving prototyping and entering alpha. Oh, and because they're entering alpha, the price is going to be going up from $20 to $35, which, if you think about it, is a very reasonable price for an alpha. Newman added that there's still a lot of work to do and they'll keep updating and improving the game. He wrote, don't think of this as us claiming that the game is done. Think of this as us saying that if early access didn't exist, we'd have released the game on Steam by now. Cool. I kind of get what he's trying to say, I think, that just because it's releasing doesn't mean that they're finished with it. But it does seem weird to be like, think of it as an alpha. By the way, we're almost doubling the price. I mean, that's some ARC level business. There's a Duke Nukem movie in the works. Yep, Duke Nukem, and it may star pro wrestler John Cena as the iconic character. Cena is reportedly in talks to star in the adaptation of the franchise that's being developed by Paramount, and it'll be produced by Platinum Dunes, the company run by Michael Bay, so count on all the explosions you can handle, which seems appropriate for a Duke Nukem movie, but it sounds like it's still very much in the early stages. There's still no director, no writer for that matter attached to the project. Cena definitely looks the part, but we'll see if anything comes of this. Who knows? Maybe we'll see Duke giving attitude adjustments to aliens in theaters very soon. Although it seems like we should have seen that like 15, 20 years ago if we were gonna see it, but it could work. Speaking of things that could work, could Ryan Reynolds star in a new adaptation of the board game Clue? That's apparently in the works. He signed a 3-year deal with Fox, and his first project is expected to be a live-action version of Clue, which has never been done before, ever, which would be produced by his own company, Maximum Effort. Okay, so I make jokes about never having done before, but you may remember way back in 1985, there was an adaptation of the game that was an ensemble comedy starring Tim Curry, Madeline Kahn, Christopher Lloyd. Amazing. Interestingly, it released with 3 different endings in various theaters, so no one could agree on what the ending was. And that sounds amazing, but it didn't go quite so well. Went on to gain cult status though. Then in 2008, Universal tried to make a new version, but that never got off the ground, and Fox eventually decided that they were gonna get the rights to Clue. So, Deadpool dressed up like Colonel Mustard in the study with katanas? I don't know, I'm interested, but also it feels unnecessary. That said, I also thought new Jumanji was unnecessary, but a lot of people like that, so it could work. I do like Ryan Reynolds, so maybe. Speaking of old properties making a comeback, the writer of the first RoboCop movie is now working on a sequel to the original that would reportedly ignore all of the other sequels and remakes that have been done. Ed Neumeier told Zeitgeist that it's nice that people are still interested in RoboCop and they have me working on a new one at MGM right now, so maybe we'll get another one out of it. As for how that's gonna fit with all the other RoboCop movies, he did add, I would say this would be kind of going back to the old RoboCop we all love, starting there and going forward. So it's a continuation, really, of the first movie in my mind. Snap, you're saying that none of the other ones were loved? Yeah, okay. This would definitely be pretty cool though, honestly, considering that the 1987 original is still universally considered to be the best of the bunch. They've tried to hit that target before. Some people have liked them, but the original still reigns supreme. The list of this year's Oscar nominees has finally been revealed, so naturally there's already a ton of hemming and hawing about who got snubbed, who got recognized. Some of the notable nominees, at least as far as you guys are probably concerned, Star Wars The Last Jedi is up for 4 awards, including Best Sound Editing and Mixing, Best Score, and Best Visual Effects. Wolverine's swan song, Logan, received a nomination for Best Screenplay, and Get Out was recognized for Best Film and Best Original Screenplay, with director Jordan Peele also getting a nod, along with Daniel Kaluuya for Best Actor. As far as some kind of surprising snubs, Wonder Woman didn't receive any nominations, but hey, at least Boss Baby did. And Wonder Woman doesn't need a nod. Suicide Squad got that already for the best costumes and everything. Yes, that is an Oscar winner. So it's really setting the bar, and then the Boss Baby nomination just sinks it in. All right, that's the news for this roundup. Let us know what you think of all these stories in the comments down below. To make sure you get news from every corner of the internet every weekday, like this video. If you're new to this channel, subscribe to the know. The writer of the first Rogo? Really? The writer of the first RoboCop movie is, I can bridge this better. Release date of PlayStation's God of War. The company just announced that you'll be able to step into the monster stomping what does that say?